Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni miliwanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very honored and so happy that you're joining us in our mission to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. Our guest today is Gina Giordano. She is joining us to celebrate her picture book. It's called Yes. Before we invite Gina into the studio, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by The Cryptid Catcher by Aaliyah Fisher. Do you want to get your kids off their screens and into reading this summer? There's no better way to do that than by introducing them to a rollicking, fun-loving adventure about the search for myths, monsters, legends, and beasts. Leah Fisher's The Cryptid Catcher explores the magical, mythical world of cryptids, or legendary animals that might be real, like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and the Snarlygaster. Join Clivo in the Mythblasters as they travel the world searching for these hidden creatures, all while doing their very best to outsmart the bad guys and save the world. The Cryptid Catcher received a star review from Booklist. It's a Junior Library Guild standard selection, and it's appropriate for adventurers ages 8 to 13. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by the Lookbook Scavenger Hunt book series by Barbara Tibbetts. The Lookbook Scavenger Hunt book series is on a mission to make life and learning fun for the entire family. Scavenger hunts are a wonderful way to increase retention and enhance solving problem skills. Looking for ways to connect with your children, slow down and look at the ordinary things around you in a brand new way? The Lookbook Scavenger Hunt is an open-ended activity that will spark conversations with your kids. Your kids can take the lead in learning as they hunt for objects hidden in plain sight. Share this experience together and build connections that last a lifetime. This is a really wonderful series. You need to check it out. It's the Lookbook Scavenger Hunt series by Barbara Tibbetts. Join us right now from Virginia Beach in the state of Virginia, a beautiful part of the world. If you've never been to Virginia Beach, you absolutely want to go. It's gorgeous. And our friend is here to celebrate her beautiful picture book. It's called Yet. Please welcome to the show, Gina Giordano. Hey, Gina, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am wonderful, but yet I think I'm going to feel even better after we talk about your book.
Oh, yeah, I think you might.
Awesome. So tell us all about it, please.
So Yet is a superhero, and she is very much all about positivity and making sure that children understand that it's important to see positive in the negative and also to learn from your mistakes. I was really interested in making sure that children understood that they were able to understand the abstract concept of yet. You know, we talk to them about it a lot. And I'm an elementary school educator. And so we talk to them about the power of yet. And it's really an abstract concept. They don't get it. And so for me to bring it into a humanistic form for them and give them a superhero to look up to and say, oh, look, here's somebody that you can look up to. She's a superhero. Here's her superpower, right? Her superpower is to say, oh, I'm a positive person. I see the positive in everything. I made a mistake. Oops. Oh, well, I can fix that mistake, learn from that mistake, and move on. That to me was something that I think that kids needed to have.
Yeah.
And so that was really the inspiration behind the story for me.
Awesome. I've never heard anybody refer to the word yet, or the idea of yet, as an abstract concept. It's probably because I'm not bright enough to be a teacher. But I absolutely agree that Yet is a superhero. I've shared on the show here in the past when my niece decided that she wanted to play hockey at the age of 12, and she wasn't born here. She was born in Central America, and she had never seen a sheet of ice until she was 12. And then suddenly she said, "Oh, I want to play hockey." And when she went out there and she was skating and would fall down and say, "I can't do this," I said to her, she can only say that phrase if she follows it with the word yet.
Yet. Yeah, exactly. And see, that's really what the book encompasses. It's that whole mindset of what you just described. My sister-in-law, my nieces are, one's almost 18 and 16 right now, but she always told the girls, you can do anything you want as long as you tell yourself that you can do it. Don't ever tell yourself that you cannot do it. And that's the same concept. As long as it's that negative, it's that self-talk that you have in your head. If you tell yourself that you can't do it, then you're going to believe that you can't do it. And kids don't understand that. And so when I say it's an abstract concept, it's like trying to teach them math. When you teach them math, you have to start with the concrete. And you have to show them and let them manipulate things and work with it, and then move towards the more abstract piece of it. Well, when we tell them, well, you can't do it yet, but you can do it eventually, well, we already automatically have thrown the abstract at them. They don't grasp that. So to give them someone or a character, actually, that is a human, and give that human superpowers, because they love superheroes, but this superhero doesn't have a superpower of, incredible strength or, like the X-ray vision or any of those other things, like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman have. This superhero has the power of changing the mindset, but it's not really her changing the mindset. You change your own mindset. Mm-hmm. She's just helping you along the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. I think it's so very, very important. And I think that your message, it's absolutely very important for kids, but I think it's also very important for parents. You mentioned that you're a teacher. I don't know if you've been teaching long enough to notice that there was kind of a change in the way parents parent. And I hear that it's changing a little bit nowadays, but I know in the not too distant past, there was this big movement to kind of bubble wrap kids so that they didn't experience any kind of disappointment or failure or a loss. I remember when my son was a kid, someone asked me to coach his soccer team, and I had coached a very competitive high school team, and that's why they wanted me. And then I found out after I said yes that they didn't keep score. And I thought,
What?
How does that work?
Yeah. And I understand that. Yeah. I've been teaching for 23 years. So I've seen that progression of, and that mind shift, and the paradigm shift, I guess, more so than the mind shift. Mm-hmm. The way that I grew up was, you learned about loss, you learned about, okay, well, it didn't happen this time. And I guess, next time, hopefully it'll be better. And I'm going to, learn from my mistakes and make these changes to, I guess they call them helicopter parents. Mm-hmm. And, just kind of making sure that like you said, bubble wrapping the child to make sure that nothing bad happens to them. And as a parent, we all want to do that to our kids, but I feel like that if I did that to my children, I would be doing them a disservice, because my kids are adults now. And I feel like if I had done that, they would not have been able to make the decisions that they make as adults now and be successful in, and say, oh my gosh, I made this mistake. As an adult, how do I learn from it? And what can I do differently now that I'm an adult?
Yeah. That's so important. It's as important as teaching our kids how to walk, teaching them how to get up after they fall down. Because we're all going to experience some sort of loss. If you are that parent who somehow successfully bubble wraps your kids so that they never get a bump or a bruise and they never lose a game and they never have a classmate not invite them to a party, well, at some point when they leave your house, well, maybe that's the point, they'll never leave the house, but at some point when they leave when they leave your house and they get into the real world, they're going to get that bump or that bruise, and
exactly.
It's better for them to learn how to deal with it when they're 5 or 6 than when they're 25 or 26.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. And learning, and I think that that's really what Yet teaches, is to how to deal with that disappointment in making those mistakes, and how to bounce back from them.
Where did your positive attitude come from?
I would probably have to say my parents. I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She did not start back at work until my youngest brother started elementary school, and I was 14 at the time. So my parents were never ones to say, we can't do this. This is impossible. And, they always showed us that if something goes wrong, so we fix it. That was their attitude. Then when we moved to Virginia Beach, my mom really got into, herself. She found herself, and she never had a college degree, but she became an entrepreneur and owned a multi-million-dollar computer company, and was on numerous college boards, and was, tapped for a couple of things with government and with various governors, and actually, for her to not have a college education and be that successful, you have to be able to say, yep, it's a can-do attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great blessing that you had that example in your life.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very blessed. I mean, both of my parents showed us that through hard work and dedication and having the proper mindset, anything is possible.
Yeah. And I think, we talk a lot here in the show about, some of the things that we need to teach our kids and things that our kids learn from us. But I think, I know of myself, I became a better person because of my kids, because I wanted to show them. I didn't want them to see the kid who grew up in the inner city just, causing all sorts of trouble. I wanted them to see somebody who was eating mindfully and, trying to lead a healthy lifestyle and exercise and learn how to control this raging anger. And so my kids really helped me become a better person. I learned from them, or I learned as I was trying to teach them. And I think that's a great, your parents' example. If you're not there already, that's a great thing to kind of work on as a parent, to say, okay, I don't totally embrace this thing yet, but I don't embrace it yet. I need to embrace it for my kids.
But there's potential.
Yeah.
And you know what? And so there's there's always that goal. And I think that's the other message that the book gives, is that you can always have that goal to work towards.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really important thing too, to let our kids know that, the walk really is never over. No. It's just an ongoing journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and for me, writing this book and publishing this book was a huge goal. And so I've made that, it's a check in the box, done it. Am I done? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. It's a learning process. Anything in life is a learning process. And so now I'm working on my second book. And so this is, so it's a little bit easier this time, because I know what to expect now. The first time I had no idea what to expect. Mm-hmm. This time I'm like, okay, I've been down this road before. Now I kind of know the hurdles. And so I have some kind of foresight as to what to expect, but you never know. I mean, I published this book during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So that was an interesting ride as well.
Absolutely. So many books were born during the pandemic. There really are some wonderful things that came out of this nightmare of 2 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, that was the other thing that really struck me with the story. Even though I wrote it pre-pandemic, the message that it gives to children is we've endured a lot of negativity because of what's been going on with the pandemic, and not just living through it, but, all of the he said, she said, mm-hmm. and, kind of the political or the politicization. Mm-hmm. I guess I don't know what the word is, but of COVID, and kids have struggled a lot, and there's been a ton of stress, and people have lost jobs, and that causes stress on the family, and so negativity has kind of taken over. And in the book, that's the Negatropolis is the negativity center of the world, and the Knot twins, they want to take over the world mm-hmm. with their negativity. And then Yet and her band of believers come in, and they're like, nope, not going to happen. And so I think it was, I don't know, serendipity that kind of happened when it did, mm-hmm. because the timing was perfect.
Yeah. We absolutely need that at this time. The country really has become divided, and it's important for our kids to be positive, to learn how to think for themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the things that I do, especially with teachers, is if I were to, I shared with you that I do educational magic shows, and if I were to hand you a magic wand, and I use a big pen as my magic wand, and I were to say to you, if you could take this magic wand and change anything to make our schools, our education system better, what would you do with that magic wand?
That's a loaded question. I think obviously one of the biggest things would be to ensure that all of the children get exactly what they need. A lot of times, and as much as we want to ensure that they do, sometimes they don't. And it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not through any fault of a lack of compassion or concern for the students or anything like that. It's just sometimes I don't even know how to describe it. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad because they're kids and they really deserve better.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably be my top thing for sure. All of these, they're children. They deserve 100% the best that we can provide for them. Now, along with that, teachers need to be treated as professionals. We're highly educated. I think I was listening to a podcast on your website, and I think you said your wife's a teacher.
She just retired after 34 years teaching in the Boston Public Schools.
Yeah. So God bless her. So she, we don't, being treated as a professional, we're highly educated. And sometimes we're not compensated correctly, or we're not respected as well as we should be. Mm-hmm. And that can be very disheartening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times, we take home not the work, but we take home the emotion. Mm-hmm. And it's a strain on us when we bring it home, and then it kind of dominoes into our family life as well, because we bring those tough kids home in our hearts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you did pretty good with the magic wand.
Thank you.
Making sure the kids have what they need, and that's not just the fanciest computers. Is getting the attention, getting the focus. There are some kids, math is easy, but English is more of a challenge, and that kid needs some extra help in that area.
And sometimes it's somebody to listen to them, and sometimes it's a hug.
Yep. So I love that idea, and if we make the investment in our kids at the young age, then we don't have to pay on the other end in terms of jails and all that kind of tragedy. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good job with the magic wand. We might let you use it again. Hey, you mentioned that book 2 is in the works. Can you give us a little preview of book 2? I know some authors are like really weird about that, but
no, it's fine. I can. I was inspired actually by we have an Achievable Dream Academy here in Virginia Beach. I think there's one in Hampton as well, but it is for a low socioeconomic school, and it is basically a school within a school. And so these kids that go there, they go a little bit longer throughout the school day, and but they have an amazing group of educators there, and they really do get a lot of cultural experiences as well that they normally wouldn't get if they weren't involved in this program. And so what I do for my job is I'm a gifted resource teacher. So I work with intellectually gifted students, kindergarten through 5th grade. And each school in Virginia Beach has one. And so my colleague at this, the Achievable Dream Academy, she does a phenomenal job with environmental studies and with her students. And she has this huge garden in the back of the school. And Pharrell Williams has donated money to help with the garden and everything. She took the kids out on, I think, a beach cleanup, and they've made art out of the trash that they collected, and they've made jellyfish and sea turtles, and they made this octopus. And so they called him Otis, named after Otis Redding, sitting on the dock of the bay.
Cool.
Yeah. And so she tweeted it out, and I was like, oh my gosh. I texted her and I said, I think I just found my next character. Would you mind if I used him as a book character? And she was like, no, go for it. So it's Otis the Trash Talking Octopus.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely an environmental piece.
Excellent. Well, I know people are going to want to know where they can go to find out more about Yet, to find out about the book that isn't here yet, but will be soon, and also.
Well, actually, it is. It released May 3rd.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. You can go on Amazon.com and it's available on Amazon, and it's available on Barnes and Noble. It is available on mascotbooks.com, which is my publisher. It's also available through me. So if they wanted to email me at Gina Giordano 68, no, it's Gina.Giordano68 at yahoo.com. Sorry. I have so many email addresses, it's hard to keep up.
I hear you. And is there a website or a place on social media folks can find you?
I do have a website. That's the without the dot. It's Gina Giordano 68 dot wix, W-I-X site.com/yet is a superhero.
Awesome. Well, we've had a really fun time speaking about education and family and having a positive attitude.
That's
and
right.
Yet the superhero. And our guest has been Gina Giordano. Hey, Gina, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're so excited. Helena Koo-Ree is returning to the show to celebrate her brand new picture book. It's called Rosa's Song. It's a beautiful book. We love having Helena on the program. She is a fantastic guest. Hey, speaking of being a guest, I bet if you wrote a beautiful children's picture book, you could be a great guest here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Want to find out how? All you have to do is go to readingwithyourkids.com, click on the author's click here button at the top of the page, and scroll on down to find out how you can be a guest. It's fun, it's easy, it gives you the chance to tell thousands of people about your fantastic book, and doesn't cost a thing. Hey, what a deal! You can also learn about our Certified Great Read program and also find out about how we can celebrate your book with commercials here on the podcast, with messages to our 90,000 plus social media followers, and display your book on our nationwide network of digital pedestrian billboards. Learn all about that and more by going to readingwithyourkids.com and clicking on the author's click here button at the top of the page. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking our guest, Gina Giordano. Please be sure to pick up Yet. Also want to thank our sponsors, The Cryptid Catcher by Leah Fisher and the Lookbook Scavenger Hunt series by Barbara Tibbetts. I want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Nicole Belcastro, Ashley Contreras, Mirabella Q, Rain Penn. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.